Now, the third secret to retaining remote team members is transparency. If you know buffer, you know that this is a hot word that swirls around a lot of buffer-based chatter. While we've certainly leaned strongly into transparency, we are still a work in progress as well. Being remote, it can lend to a siloed feeling for some. It can make you start to believe whatever stories or conclusions that you come up with about your own performance, about your peers, about your boss and your company as a whole. If you're an analytical person who sometimes gets in your own head, you're probably nodding your head right now, really remembering those times that you felt that way. The first thing we want to do is to prevent some of those remote silos. We want to be able to share a company's trajectory in order to make everyone feel included and get out of those silos. Now, the more your team members know about your company's performance, decision-making progress, changes, no matter how little or big those changes are, your company vision, your company goals, the more they're going to feel like part of the process. Now, let's take Buffer as an example. We had our annual retreat in April of 2019. We took a survey before and we took it after the retreat, and we compared some of the responses. It was pretty astounding to see how having an extended time to share vision and progress, plus bond with one another, could make such an impact on the morale and outlook from our team members. The alignment that team members felt between themselves and Buffer increased 8% after our retreat. We also had an 8% increase in team members feeling like they were recognized for the work they do, and an astounding 18% increase in team members believing that quality and improvement are executive leadership's top priorities. My hypothesis is that although we always lean into transparency, the retreat made it so that everyone heard the same message at the same time, and therefore everyone was on the same page. It was also a place where we intentionally took time out to share all of those higher level thoughts. As I just mentioned, it truly made a difference, and you see that in the numbers. Now, you don't need a retreat to make these positive changes in Outlook. You can use all company video call meetings on a recurring basis to share your higher level vision. You can ask your CEO and other executives to share sporadic thought updates where they can informally make their brainstorms and ponderings known to all. Now, these are just two examples of ways to increase transparency across your company. What are your ideas? You might have had some pop up. Share those in the comment section below. I'm excited to hear and learn from them as well. Now, the third transparency tip I have is to share area updates even before they're solidified. I just mentioned the idea of asking your executives or other leaders to share some of their non-formulated thoughts on an ongoing basis. It's a scary thing to share thoughts that aren't packaged in a bow. It can make you feel vulnerable to criticism or questioning. Isn't it easier to just announce a new policy and tie it up without invitation for feedback? Just give it? Sure it is, but that's also a great way to ostracize your team and translate a damaging perspective that their thoughts aren't useful in decision making. Now, you don't have to do this every time, but pulling your team in at different points in decision making can prove to not only give them a heads up regarding a change, but also can allow them to contribute thoughts that are positive or constructive. Having their thoughts heard, whether you use them or simply just acknowledge them, will allow them to be part of the process and can ingrain the feeling that they are part of the team, that this is their home and this is where they belong and this is where their feedback is entrusted. This extra sense of ownership can certainly increase retention overall. Now, our last topic around transparency includes offering feedback to your team members. Now, that doesn't mean that we're broadcasting our feedback for one of our team members to the rest of the team, not at all. Instead, we're being transparent with our own team members when there's something that we have in mind that we'd like them to alter, or that we've really appreciated too. Don't leave out the praise piece. So let's take praise as an example. It might not seem critical to quickly share praise, but when we really think about it, praise in the moment can signify the greatness of what they just did, even if it's small. If you had the awareness to bring it to them, they'll know that it was something that struck you as awesome. That can really go a long way. And if you're someone who doesn't believe in sharing praise to team members because they're just doing something that's expected of them, then maybe let's think a little outside the box for a minute. While your team member might be expected to write code for your newest landing page, what did they do to put their spin on it? Did they suggest new wording? Did they take the initiative to alter the design at the last minute due to finding the potential for a better user experience? There are actions that each of our team members will take to enhance the job that they're given based on their own flair. Their flair being maybe their own experience, their creativity, their innovative thoughts. It's imperative to retention that we recognize these large and the small moments where team members go above and beyond for us. Giving constructive feedback early and often is just as important as it is to give praise early and often. Have you ever had a boss save their constructive feedback for you to share at your review time? How deflating is it to feel like they were ruminating on something you could have corrected weeks or maybe even months ago? Knowing they didn't have the care or courage to tell you sooner also makes you feel like maybe you're on a different team from them, like they don't really want you to succeed. Managers who really want their team members to thrive, let them know about their misses or complete falls as soon as they have the wording to articulate it in the most constructive way. These are managers who have shown that they want to partner with their team member on their growth trajectory. And these are managers who team members don't want to leave. That's retention, right? So that's what we want to be.